Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. One second. All right. Okay, so we'll continue to discuss Madhurya Kādambini. So just to give a recap, last time we were, this is the third chapter we are looking at. And in the third chapter, he started discussing about Anartha Nivṛtti. Anartha Nivṛtti, in that context, he described the four types of anarthas. What are the four types of anarthas? Anarthas that could arise from sinful activities, anarthas that could arise from pious activities, anarthas that could arise from offenses, and anarthas that could arise while doing bhakti. And then he gave example of all these things, and he started looking into the nama pradas. The nama pradas, the first offense is offending the devotees, and he has given what are all the remedies one has to take. The second aparadha is considering Shiva and Vishnu to be different or non-different, and we discussed in length about what is the difference between Shiva and Vishnu and what is the non-difference between them. And after that, the next offense is offending the Guru, disrespecting the Guru Avagya. So that is also similar to the first offense because Guru is also Vaishnava. And the fourth offense is Shruti Shastra Nindanam. That is condemning the Shrutis, especially the Shrutis which are describe the Karma Kanda path or Jnana Kanda path. We may sometimes, think that we should do that or it's okay to do that. In that sense, we will go and condemn the scriptures, but we should not do that. And here we stopped. So why we shouldn't condemn that scripture? Because yataha taha shruteha bhakti margeshu anadhikariнаha swachandaha vartinaha paramaraga andan api vartma matram adhyarohayitum udyataha paramakarunikaha evaiti tat tatparya vignya jana prabodhita yadi bhagyavashad bhaveyuhu tada eva iti. So previously he mentioned that one should continuously, if one condemn the scripture, one should continuously chant the holy name of the Lord and should glorify from the same mouth which has condemned those scriptures about both the scriptures as well as the followers of those scriptures. If we condemn a Karma Kanda path, we should glorify Karma Kanda scriptures as well as the followers of Karma Kanda scriptures. And here he gives the reason why the Shrutis do that. They do that because there are many people who are not qualified for bhakti. Bhakti margeshu anadhikarinaha. They are not adhikari. They are not qualified for bhakti. And they follow their own path, swachanda vartinaha, without following the path of the sadhus. And they are also... you are able to hear me properly, right? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can hear you.
Paramaraga, they are blinded by the desire. Those people who are not qualified for bhakti. But even those people should also be fixed on the path of, the spiritual progress. Vartma matram, just on the path, they will be placed. And that's why the scriptures are, giving them, like, you perform, if you want to perform the Putra Kameshti Yoga, yagya, then you will get the son. If you want to rain, you perform this yajna. If you want unlimited piety, then you perform, different vratas and so on. So they do this because they are planning to keep them situated on the path of bhakti. That is, first they will obtain faith in the Shrutis, and then from there, they can see what is the conclusion of the Shrutis. From there, they can get the association of the devotees, and then they can get bhakti. So, it's sort of indirect preaching. So it is out of the Shruti's own compassion, Parama Karunika. So how do we understand this aspect? Tat tatparya vijnana praboditaha. Because of fortune, bhagya vashat, because of fortune, if we get association of those devotees who have understood this conclusion nicely, then at that moment only our offense against the Shrutis will go away, because we are understanding the compassionate nature of the Shruti and what is its purpose. One second, it is not. One second, let me just close it and open it. This is not closing. Okay. Thank you, Shankaran bro.
Yeah, bro, thank you. Very beautiful point I was thinking.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Compassion of Shruti is to keep even people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness to on the track of bhakti.
Yes, Prabhuji. So my Chrome is doing some. Oh, it's not working properly. Let me try Firefox.
Prabhuji, can you repeat that point one more time?
Shankaran Prabhu, you would like to repeat?
So please go ahead. You can speak.
So basically, the Shrutis are compassionate. They are situating people on the path of bhakti. That is what their ultimate goal is. But they do it in such an indirect way because people are generally attached to fruity mentality. They want some fruit. Even today, even among devotee community, or today when you go on to preach also, people say, don't talk about this otherworldly thing, tell me something that's useful for me today. How can I control anger? How can I control my mind? All these things, devotees speak so that, they can ultimately bring them to hear about Krishna's pastimes and be absorbed in it. Bhakti. So similarly, the Shruti also do that for this purpose.
Thank you.
Give me a moment. It's my system is doing something. I have to restart. I will join back. Sorry about that. Okay. So that is about the scripture, Shrutis. Next he says, Evameva anyeshamapi shannam aparadam udbhava nivṛtti nidanani avagantavyani. So similarly, so we have until now we have discussed 4 aparadas, and there are 10 aparadas discussed in the Padma Purana. So the other 6 aparadas should also be understood in this way, how they arise and how they can be rectified, and these two can be understood. Now, he is not going to discuss all the 10 offenses. Atha bhakti uthagate cha mula shakatha upashaka iva mula shakatha upashaka iva bhaktya eva dhana adi labha puja pratishthadeyaha pratishthadyaha swavrittibhi sadaka chittamapi uparajya swavriddhya mula shakam iva bhaktim api kunthayatum prabhavanti iti. So next he is going to discuss about the offenses that arise due to while doing bhakti. So when you plant something in your garden, as soon as you plant something and then you pour water and then you put fertilizers and so on, along with the plant, the weeds will also grow. That's natural. So similarly, the bhakti is the main plant, mula shaka. Because of that, the upashaka, that is the weeds, will also grow. What are the weeds? Dana. When you perform bhakti, you may get wealth. People will come and give you donation. You will attain different things. And you will get puja, worship. People will worship you. Pratishta, position, power. You can become a GBC person also, whatsoever. So all these things are not the positions, power, and worship. These things the devotee should not consider as bhakti. It's actually weed for one's own bhakti. Attachment to those things, basically. Swavrittibihi sadaka chittamapi uparajya swavriddhya. So by its own, because these dhana, labha, puja, all these things, by its own nature, they cover the chitta, heart of the sadhaka devotee. So we should be very careful about this when we receive all these things. They can cover the heart of the person. And if we continue to let that grow within our heart, what will happen? Swavriddhya mula shakam. By letting the weed grow, the main plant's growth will be stunted. All the nutrition, in essence, and the water we pour, they will just end up going to the weeds rather than to the bhakti. And the bhakti the growth will be stunted. So one should be careful about that. Yes, Praveen Prabhu, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is such a beautiful point, Prabhuji, about Shaka and Upashaka, and such a good analogy. I was just wondering myself, how do we kind of, first of all, be aware that, in whatever, insignificant amount, this weed is growing around us, right? And how should we keep ourselves focused on the main goal, which is bhakti?
Yeah. So first thing is recognition. We should recognize what is weed and what is bhakti. Bhakti is that which we try our attempt to please the Supreme Lord. And weed is, he gives an example here that you may get power, position, worship, wealth, some material gain you may get out of these things. So these are all attachment to these are all considered to be weed. We may get that and we can employ these things in the service of the Lord again. But if we get attached, then that becomes weed. And especially in the sadhaka stage, we should be very careful about it. We should compare how much we are elevated in bhakti also. If you are on the beginner level, it's better to avoid these things. If you are advanced, then we can, based on our qualification, we can try to engage these things in the service of the Lord. But again, we should be careful. Just like Tirumangay Alvar, he's one of the 12 Alvars. He used to do burglary, and then he used to, steal money, wealth from big, rich people. And then he was taking that, and then he was constructing the temple of Srirangam. What you see in the temple, Srirangam temple, it was constructed out of that money. Not only that, he was also maintaining a big group of all expert burglars. So he was the head of those burglars. You could only imagine, how much you should be, politically, diplomatically, and influential to maintain a group of burglars and to engage them in this activity and collect the money and then put it back in the temple service. But then he was, for his personal use, he used to beg still every day for food. He didn't even touch a single paisa out of that. He was maintaining himself for begging regularly. But he is Tirumangay Alvar. He's an Alvar. We cannot imitate. Prabhupada used to say that. If we also try to do something like that, we may first of all get caught, and we may go to jail also. We may struggle with that. Second thing is, our bhakti can be destroyed. We may really become a burglar rather than engage that in the service of the Lord. So we have to test our capacity as well. That way, we can accept whatever is not covering our bhakti.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Tesham Chaturnam Anarthanam. Any other question before I move? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam.
Yes, Mataji.
Regarding this, I had heard earlier that in some class that if we do some theft or anything and then we use it in service of Krishna, so that because we are giving for Krishna, it is devotional service, but then you still have to incur the karma of whatever burglary or theft act you have done. So because he was an exalted devotee, he was a Alvar. In his case, he was purely, he was using 100% of it for Krishna's service, and for himself, he was begging alms and all. But as you mentioned, we should not be imitating. And also, I just wanted to clarify from the Shastric point of view that even if you're utilizing 100% of such amount in Krishna's service, still, are you still, bound by the karma, right? The karma of, stealing and all you. So what is your,
Yeah, I mean, if you use 100% in the service of the Lord, you don't get karma. But what you can get is implication. You may, first of all, by law, a person can get implicated. He may be put in the jail for doing that burglary activity, stealing activity, and so on. And that can create a bad name if I identify myself as a ISKCON person and then go and steal money, other people's money, and then put in the temple. That will create also a bad reputation for the whole society as well. So it can create implication, and it can also create mental implication that I may develop a propensity to steal because of my own anarthas. Then at one point I'll start using for myself as well. So we should be really careful about all these activities which are condemned in the scripture.
Yes, Prabhu. So as you mentioned, you can be implicated, you can be put in jail. So that is also, you can think that it's a karma, right, Prabhu? Isn't it? Would you consider it as karma?
Well, if I go to my job and work hard, and if I get the money at the end of the month, would you call that karma?
Yes, definitely.
What is that karma? Maybe you can call it kriyamana karma. This currently you are performing. Usually when we say karma, you do something, you get reaction very later or something like that. It just goes into your bank account, because for this birth, right, as soon as you take birth, most of your things are decided. The blueprint is decided. Then there are some individual things which can be decided by your kriyamana karma. In that way, you can say it's out of karma or something like that. But if you use in the service of the Lord, you don't incur karma. Just like Prabhupada was getting heart attacks, it's not really karma. It's why he should get heart attack. It's arrangement of the Lord. It's all complete control of the Lord. The Lord can do anything he wants. He can he could have just made the entire passage very smooth, or he could just want Prabhupada to go through like that. So it all depends on the Lord. So when we do something for the Lord, then we give the control to the Lord. The Lord may give this kind of reactions, or he may not give. It's up to the Lord.
Okay, so you would say that even if the devotee is jailed for that act of stealing, that is not counted as a karma.
If he is
You'll just
100%
accept as the
if he is 100% doing to the service of the Lord without any attachment for it, and without, his real intention is to serve the Lord.
Yeah, but devotees are advised, to follow the laws of the land and be honest, and all these different qualities which Bhagavad Gita says that a devotee should develop during his life, raise themselves to Brahmanical standards, all these things. So that
Yeah.
they are our guidebook, right? But then if someone thinks that, oh, anyways, I'm doing 100% for the Lord and without attachment to the results and everything, and if something happens also, it's okay, because it's because as per the law it is not allowed, and then it is that, and they can do resort to all sorts of such activities, then he would always remain in the lower modes, right?
That's what I
Unless he is
said.
somebody exalted.
That's what I said. You can get implicated not only by law, but also by your mental attachment to those kind of activities. So because we still have anarthas, and because of those anarthas, we can get implicated. That implication can bring bad name to you, your family, your society, organization which you are associated with, or it can bring bad name to that. And as well as it can get you implicated because heart is not pure. And that's why Prabhupada said that don't do these kind of activities, because first of all, it brings a bad name. And then second thing is you can also get implicated. So that's the recommendation. But the act per se is doesn't bring karma, but we should be careful not doing that.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you for the clarity.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, Tersham Chaturunam Anarthanam Nivṛtti api Panchavida. The four types of anarthas which we saw, that one is arising out of sins, arising out of aparadhas, and arising out of bhakti, and arising out of punya activities. These are the four anarthas. These four anarthas, cessation of these four anarthas happens in 5 stages. Ekadeshavartini, Bahudeshavartini, Prayiki, Purna, Atyantiki, Cha, Iti. I'm going to write this down. Four types of anarthas. Bhakti Uttama, what is the fourth one? Aparad. Okay. And this destruction of anarthas happen in 4 levels, 4 stages. Ekadesha Vartini. Ekadesha Vartin. Basically, it means slightly, approximately translated like this. Bahudesha. Majorly. And then Prayiki. How do you translate? Too much. And then you have Purna. Complete. Atyantiki. Absolute. Okay. So the destruction is like, it happens like this. Ekadesha Vartin. That means, slightly the anarthas are destroyed. The next stage is Bahudesha Vartin. That is, majority of the anarthas are destroyed. Let's say 75%. We can just say include some percentage just for our understanding. Let's say 5%. It's like 75%. And then too much. It's like 90% of the anarthas are destroyed. And Purna is 100%. 100% done. Okay. We'll see what role are these things. Tatra gramaha dagdaha pataha bhagnaha iti nyayena aparada utthana anarthanam nivṛttigi bhajana kriya anantaram ekadesha vartini nishtayam utpannayam bahula desha vartini ratau utpadyamanayam prayiki premni Purna Shri Bhagavat Pada Praptau Atyantiki. So when you, he gives an quotation, Gramaha Dagdaha Pataha Bhagnaha. The village is burnt and the cloth is torn. So when the village is getting burnt, it happens gradually. Not like it's one fraction of a second, it gets everything destroyed. So it happens gradually. Similarly, when you tear a cloth, when you start tearing, it just starts from the beginning and then it goes down. So it happens gradually. So similarly, the destruction of the anarthas also happens gradually, not instantly. Right? So this is for so he is going to give these stages for all these 4 different types of anarthas. How the anartha that arose due to sins are going to get destroyed in stages. At what stage they get destroyed? Similarly with piety, and similarly with bhakti and offenses. So far, the anarthas risen due to aparadas, he's giving that as the first one. So, Anathanam Nivṛtti Bhajana Kriya Anantaram Ekadesha Vartini. So after Bhajana Kriya, the stage Bhajana Kriya. Just for our understanding, I'll stop at this paragraph. Stages of Bhakti. So we have first Shraddha, then Bhajana Kriya. So Sadhu Sangha happens before that. Yeah, we can consider that also a stage, but this is the usual stages we list out, starting from Shraddha. So the Shraddha happens because of Sadhu Sangha. And again, starts Bhajana Kriya also because of Sadhu Sangha. So, it's, and same thing with Anartha Nivṛtti. Anartha Nivṛtti happens during Bhajana Kriya and then one attains Nishtha. So the Sadhu Sangha and Anartha Nivṛtti, they are not stages per se, but they lead to the next stages. So when the aparadhas which arose due to destruction of anarthas, due to aparadhas, they get destroyed 5% in after bhajana kriya. So 5% is ekadesha vartin, slightly, okay, and they get destroyed. And then what he says, nishtayam utpannayam bahuladesha vartini. So when the nishta arises, when one attains the stage of nishta, then it gets 75%, which is bahudesha vartini. We attain this one. And then ratau utpadyamanayam prayiki. So when one attains the stage of rati, that is bhava, what happens? 90%. This prayiki, he attains the thing. And premni purna. So when one attains the stage of prema, 100%. And Shri Bhagavat Pada Praptau Atyantiki. So after attaining spiritual world, Bhagavat Pada Praptau, 100% done. Okay, that is the Atyantiki. So just to give a background, in the stage of bhajana kriya, when we start the bhajana kriya, slightly our offenses start getting destroyed. But in the stage of nishta, the majority of the offenses are gone. Majority of the anarthas are gone. Even the anarthas arouse due to aparadhas. In the stage of bhava, almost everything is destroyed, but still some traces of anarthas are there. That is the case with Jadabharata Maharaj. So Jadabharata Maharaj was in the stage of bhava. In the stage of bhava, you can actually see the Lord. You can smell the Lord. You can touch the Lord. But still there are traces of anarthas are there. And that's why he actually fell down from that stage because of his previous anarthas, previous aparadhas, which, because of that, the anarthas still remain in the heart a little bit. But in the stage of prema, it's 100% is gone. Everything, all the aparadhas are destroyed. But what is then this 100% done? So even after attaining the stage of prema, one could still commit aparadhas, but not by oneself, but because of others' attribution. So we know the case of Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami was sitting in a forest and he was doing the bhajan, and then he was actually visualizing the pastime. So Rupa Goswami is in the stage of prema. Of course, he is Nitya Siddha, but just to teach a lesson. So he was in the stage of prema, and then he was looking at the pastime, and then he laughed at it. There's something is going on there. And then there was another devotee who was walking on that path, who had some deformities in the body. He thought that Rupa Goswami is laughing at him. So he got disturbed by it. And he attributed that offense to Rupa Goswami. It was not Rupa Goswami's fault, but somebody else attributed that offense. And because of that, Rupa Goswami's meditation got, it wasn't coming back. So Rupa Goswami has to find that devotee and then ask, satisfy him. After that only he could revive that meditation. So in the prema stage, 100%, though it is destroyed, somebody else could attribute. As long as we are in this material world, there is always people who could come and attribute offenses to us, and that also has effect upon us. That's why attaining spiritual world is desired, because once you go to the spiritual world, everybody is a devotee there. Nobody is going to attribute a fault upon you. It is completely free, and everybody is interested in serving the Lord. There's not going to be, again, this kind of fault can come in. So once you attain the spiritual world, it's 100% done. There's nothing more than that. There are some questions will come about Jai Vijay and these personalities who also got cursed in the spiritual world, but we'll save that for next time. We'll continue from here next time. I know I'm already over 6 minutes. Any quick question before I stop?
Prabhu, I was just thinking.
Krishna, one at a time.
Yeah, I'll go after Prabhuji.
No, I had a quick comment. I was just thinking, actually, spiritual or nobody is deformed. So, everyone, none has any anartha. So there's, as you said, right, there's no chance of, inflicted, aparadhas one upon another.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. So I was thinking, can you go above in your Word document?
Okay.
Yeah. Could you explain these 4 types of anarthas, Prabhu?
So we discussed this in the past. Basically, you do some sinful activities. A person does sinful activities. Anarthas can arise because of that. I go and eat meat. Because of that, anarthas can arise. Desire to enjoy this world. All these are anarthas. Piety. I do some punya activity. Because of that, also anarthas can come. Enjoyment mentality. That I perform some punya activity, I get punya, and then I enjoy the Swargaloka, all the benefits of that punya. Then I develop enjoyment mentality, basically. Things are nice, let me enjoy. That's the piety. In the course of bhakti, when you're performing bhakti, you can do nama aparadha and seva aparadha. Nama aparadhas are 10 aparadhas, which we listed. Seva aparadha is when worshipping the deity. You should be careful, otherwise you can commit offenses as well. And anarthas, so that anarthas arise because of that. Anarthas due to offenses. These are the nama aparadhas. The anarthas that is arising in bhakti is usually the seva aparadhas. He distinguishes that. So this is generally referring to the seva aparadhas. This is referring to the nama aparadhas.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, anarthas in the course of bhakti is what we discussed here. That is dhana, labha, puja, pratishtha, the power, position, all these things. So those are the anarthas. Sorry for that confusion. The anarthas due to offenses is just the nama aparadhas, because seva aparadhas, they can be rectified, but it's just pure nama aparadhas.
I see. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Destruction of anarthas, you said 4 stages, right? What is that? Yeah, what was Prabhu? Like, how can we attain that? Is there any process for each and every point you mentioned, Prabhu?
Yeah, so these are the different stages of bhakti. So as you go through these bhakti stages, you attain those destruction. So as soon as you attain bhajana kriya stage, slight amount of your aparadha is destroyed. That is, you perform continuously every day chanting. It is Aniṣṭhita bhajana. It is not Nishtha in the sense it is not a study. Every day I'm chanting, but I'm not chanting with the same enthusiasm. So that is why it is called Aniṣṭhita. Then the stage of Nishtha, that is study bhakti. Every day I'm chanting, but every day I'm having the same enthusiasm to chant. And whenever I serve the Lord, I have the same enthusiasm to serve. And I have continued to have desire to serve the Lord. So that stage, most of your anarthas are destroyed. The stage of bhava is you developed a love for God, but it is still in a budding stage. The prema is like the actual love of the God, the fruit. And after that, one attains spiritual world. So through that, the gradual destruction, the 5%, I have given some number for us to easily understand. 10% Aniṣṭha stage, 90% of anarthas getting distracted at bhava stage, 100% at prema, and 100% done at spiritual world, when you attain the spiritual world.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Rohini Dulal Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanas Pranam.
Prabhuji, a few weeks back I was asking about this bijam.
Okay.
So, Nectar of Devotion reading also, the bija haratham is mentioned as one of the, in the Kleshagni part.
Yeah.
So there it is mentioned that the bija is simple reaction in the form of impression.
Yeah.
So I was this impression should be in the heart, right? So
yeah. So there is a 2 bija. This is the first bija. This bija is actually the sinful desire in the heart, but there is the other bija in the stage of karma, which we discussed. Bija, kuta, and aprarabdha prarabdha. That's different. This bija is different. Many times we confuse these two bijas, but this bija is completely different. That bija is different. That is stages of karma. This is bija in the sense of, it is in a seed form. We have that, desire getting stuck in our heart.
Okay. So this bija is already manifested, right? So,
in the sense?
It's already seen as an impression in the heart. So unless it is going to take effect in this life, why it has to be an impression in the heart? That was my doubt.
Yeah, I mean, the impression is there. It can manifest in this life or next life. When the opportune moment comes, it just manifests. Sometimes, we may wonder, oh, how did I get angry in that particular situation? Or how did I behave, get attached to so much, in a particular situation? Sometimes you wonder, did I behave like that? I shouldn't have behaved like that. How did I cannot believe myself behaving like that, all these kind of questions come because the bija is in the heart, the desire in the seed stage. And when the opportune moment was there, it just manifested immediately, which we are surprised because we never noticed that before. So that's why you get those kind of exclamations.
Okay, so this bija can take effect in this life, right? So,
yeah, in this life also, yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
So, Prabhu, I had one question.
Yes, Prabhu.
So this 5% to 75%, we see when somebody is in Anartha, he starts with 5%, right? Once reaches Anartha stage, they at 5% starts. But then before reaching Nishtha, we see there is kind of 70% difference, right? So is it that 70% Anarthas are destroyed, or like at least, before one reaches Nishtha stage, in the Anartha stage only? Because here we are continuously chanting, trying to deal with the Anarthas.
Yeah,
so
exactly. It is a gradual transition. It is not that, I perform bhajana kriya, it is remaining 5%. Suddenly one day Nishtha comes, 75% is gone. No, it is a gradual transition, as you said. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And then same thing with the Nishtha to Bhava. It's a gradual transition, 75 to 90%. Again, these numbers are given by me just to give an indication. Otherwise, these terms may be confusing. What is this Ekadesha Vartin, Bahudesha Vartin, Prayiki, all these things. So,
these are just, something you use as a sample, right? To make this.
You can put a 95 also, but I just propose something to make us understand.
Okay. Because I was thinking, because in Baba stage, actually, most of the Anarthas is destroyed.
Yeah, you
maybe
can
the
put
percentage
99 also.
Yeah. Okay.
I put a 90% to distinguish it from Prema. So,
okay, got it. Thank
you. Yeah. Yes, Sudesh Mataji.
Prabhuji, I had a question like to how do we have a goal to progress effectively from one stage to another so that we can attain love of God at this very lifetime? How do we plan our life? So is there any kind of a formula, or is there something which we have to keep assessing ourselves for a certain parameters such that we can actually work towards progressing in these stages? Yeah,
that's a good point. Of course, love of God, it is very a lofty goal. But instead of planning for love of God, I would say plan for the next stage, which is Nishtha, the steadiness. I know most of us will be going through the Anartha Nivṛtti. The next stage will be like a steadiness. So we should nicely study the qualities of the next stage, immediate goal. Like, for example, when I'm studying LKG, instead of thinking about how can I become a brain surgeon, we can think about how can I complete elementary school. Then once you complete the elementary school, you can think about how to become, complete a middle school and a higher secondary. I don't know what year is called. The high school, the high school and then college, like that. So we can focus on immediate next stage, Nishtha. So first we should understand the qualities of it and what are all the, what is it defined, how the stage is defined. One performs with the continuous enthusiasm. So we can, set up a goal like, when I'm chanting, I will chant with at least, enthusiastic mind. rather than just working on something and then chanting. So like that, we can slowly in whatever the bhakti we are doing every day, we can improve to attain the stage of Nishtha. So once a person attains the stage of Nishtha, it's actually easy. The stage of Anartha Nivṛtti is like, climbing a steep hill, very difficult. You have to work very strenuously, very hard. But once you go to the stage of Nishtha, then it is like walking a straight path. They're very easy to walk. After that, bhakti is going to be very, very relishable and sweet as well. So, but even in the stage of Anartha Nivṛtti also, it's relishable, but there is a strenuous effort is also there because, we are waging a war with our anarthas. So that's why Madhurya Kādambini is helpful, because it is listing all these things for us to recognize it. Once we recognize it, then we will start, seeing, okay, Labha, Puja, Pratishtha. I should not be attached to that. When somebody gives me respect, all these things, you can respond to that person, thank you so much, but not become attached to it. So we can each and every point we can deliberate upon.
So Prabhuji, we will be covering each stage, what are the characteristics, or like we have already covered, and maybe I have missed, like.
So we have kind of covered until we are going through now Aniṣṭhita Bhajana Kriya, which is basically the Anartha Nivṛtti process. So once Anartha Nivṛtti is there, then the next stage will be the Nishtha. So the question is, how do we destroy these anarthas? That's what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving. So once we destroy these anarthas, then Nishtha is going to come naturally. How do you destroy these anarthas? How should you be careful about anarthas? For example, I commit offense to a Vaishnava. I should be careful in, going and asking forgiveness. And I should be careful in, first of all, not committing that offense. So all these things are given so that we'll follow that instruction to attain the stage of Nishtha.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So people, you can feel free to drop. I see some hands being raised. Yes. Vipti Shri Mataji, you had some question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, in the stage of Nishtha, does it include all the Navavida Bhakti? Like how one can perfect in the stage of Nishtha, Prabhu?
So the Bhajana Kriya means performing of the bhajan. That itself is the Navavida Bhakti. So in the stage of Shraddha, we have faith that Bhakti is the ultimate process that's going to lead us to perfection. But Bhajana Kriya is where actually you start doing the bhajan, which is Navavida Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all these things. You are performing in that stage. And from then onwards, you will perform that continuously. In Nishtha, you will perform Ruchi, you will perform Ashakti, you will perform Bhava, Prema, everything you are performing that. But it will be with a different level of intensity. In the Bhajana Kriya stage, the intensity and regularity may be low. But in the stage of Nishtha, the intensity is very high and the regularity is also complete. And in the stage of Ruchi, the intensity is much more increasing. Asakti it's much more increasing intensity. Bhava, it is quality or intensity is increasing. Prema, it's ultimate, like that. Did that answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Rohini Dulal Prabhu, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, this 7 stages versus 9 stages of Bhakti, right? I was wondering because in the Nectar of Devotion, it is mentioned as the 9 stages, the Adho, Shraddha, Tadho, Sadhu, Sangha.
Yeah.
So I was wondering where this difference comes. I mean, in which scriptures this difference is mentioned?
Yeah. So Adho Shraddha. First there is Shraddha. Then Tata Sadhu Sangha Atta Bhajana Kriya. Then you get association of the devotees. Then you start bhajan. So you can put association of the devotees as a stage, or you can use it as a reason to do the bhajan. Depends on how you are interpreting the verse.
Okay.
So you can interpret it as a stage, or you can interpret it as something that is leading to the next stage. Some process. you get the association of the devotees. And then you start bhajan. Adav shada ata bhajan kriya, tata sadhu sangha ata bhajan kriya, ata anartha nivṛttihi. So the destruction of anarthas, you can put it as a stage, but it starts when you start a bhajan. From that time onwards, the anartha nivṛtti starts. So it's sort of pervading everything. So this sadhu sangha is also pervading the stage of bhajana kriya, and after that onwards. So you can mark it as a stage, or you can just think of something that is leading to the next stage as well. In that way, you can have difference of stages.
Yeah. The difference I understood, Prabhuji. I mean, when you explained first time, I was just trying to understand where it is mentioned as 7 stages.
Oh, so no, it is not mentioned as 7 stages. I'm just mentioning it here.
Oh, okay, got
Here
it.
in Madhurya Kādambini also, he just, in the chapter names itself, he gives Aniṣṭhita Bhakti Kriya. Anartha Nivṛtti, one chapter is described. That's the current chapter we are going through. But then he is mostly talking about how to destroy the anarthas, not necessarily as a stage you will start, but which is leading to Nishtha Bhajana Kriya. So it's a transition as a one chapter. Then he has a one chapter for Ruchi, and then Asakti, Bhava, and Prema. I think these are all combined together.
Okay. It's based on the chapters, how they are divided in Madhurya Kādambini.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll stop here. Sorry for taking so much time. It went beyond. We'll stop here. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda
Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.